Hey everybody, Tova Privet here, Emerald Ambassador with Plexus Worldwide. I'm excited to take a few minutes with you and talk about detox and die-off. This is a big topic, and you might be here just because you want to learn a little bit more, or you might unfortunately be experiencing a few of the symptoms. So I want to explain to you what the heck is going on, why you don't need to be worried, and kind of some choices you have, what to expect, and choices you have with how to get through this period. All right, so let's get started. A little bit about me, if you don't know me. I've taken these products for 6 years. I come from a healthcare background. I've worked in emergency medicine and education for about 18 years, and I have a bachelor's in science in human nutrition, foods, and exercise. So I love all this stuff and have done a bunch of research. Of course, I am not your doctor. I am just here to talk about my experience with Plexus personally. So if you're curious about trying anything or specific guidance, talk to the person who introduced you to Plexus, and always check with your doctor. All right, so sometimes, unfortunately, we have to feel a little worse before we can feel a lot better. All right. The best analogy I can come up with this, I recently did some spring cleaning, specifically in my garage. But here's the thing with spring cleaning and decluttering. Think about the process of that. I had to pull everything out, which was dirty. There was stuff everywhere. It was a mess. So number one, it takes time. Number two, I had to get rid of some trash, decide what was trash and get rid of it. And then number three, I had to do some reorganizing to get everything back where it should be. So reorganizing, rebalancing. I need you to think of really taking control of your health in a similar way. So if you're experiencing some detox and die-off, and we're going to talk about what those are, just hang in there. It's going to be worth it. Your body is going to feel better and function better. So what's the difference between those two terms? Detox is the actual removal of toxins that have built up in your body. This can happen all sorts of ways over years. It is impossible to prevent, unfortunately, with just medicines we're exposed to, stuff that they put on our food, stress. We could do an entire other video just about that, but just trust me. And I think everyone knows for now, we know we have toxins built up in our body that we aren't necessarily getting rid of as efficiently as we can. And that's going to have an effect. Okay. And then not only do existing toxins have an effect, when we start to pull them out of our body, you're going to get symptoms of that. So what could this look like? And also I want to let you know about 25 to 30% of people who take our products and are just starting are going to experience and notice some sort of detox and die-off. We all have some of it, but most of us have minimal symptoms. And so this video is really geared at people who have more severe symptoms and are confused by it, want to know why. These symptoms do not mean Plexus is not for you. You are just too sensitive to Plexus. This is not a good fit. It doesn't mean any of those things, guys. And that's why I want to do this video, because actually it means quite the opposite. It is a huge flashing sign that your body needs this and has junk in it and bad stuff in it that we need to get out. And unfortunately, that doesn't always feel great, but we're going to get through it. So bloating, gas, constipation, diarrhea, some weight gain. As we break down and release toxins, you got to think that's hyper concentrated. Our body naturally will pull some fluid in to try to dilute that. And that might mean you actually notice the scale go up a few pounds. That's not true weight, guys. That's just fluid shifting around. And we're going to talk about how to get that off. Congestion, headache, skin breakouts, rash, and actually itching. Other detoxes that you'll see this with is when people first start their keto diets, this can happen. And when I went off gluten, if you go to an anti-inflammatory diet, suddenly you can actually almost have withdrawal reactions and detox reactions, okay? And like straight up feeling like you have the flu, breaking out rashes, it goes away. It's a sign this stuff should not be in your body. There's actually a reaction called the Herx reaction, Herx, and it's an inflammatory response that the body has secondary to removing toxins and proteins released from dying off of certain microorganisms. So even within the traditional medical community, this process is known to exist and not always be pleasant. So that's detox. What is die-off when we talk about it? And after I define this, we're going to kind of talk about them all together, because with our systems, they're going to happen at the same time, but I want you to know the difference. So die-off has to do with side effects caused by killing off excess yeast. You may have heard it called candida. Here's the deal. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, you have some level of candida and yeast, this fungus in your body from the day you're born. It is normal. What's not normal is this massive imbalance that occurs due to all sorts of environmental things we're exposed to. Diet is the main one, and antibiotic use is the other one. So when yeast gets overgrown, it's not supposed to get overgrown. Only time it is supposed to do that is when we die, and it helps decompose our bodies. So obviously we want it in check, and when it's not in check, it causes all sorts of bad problems. That would be another video. But as we break it down, it actually has a hard outer shell, like almost like a cockroach. Some of our products have enzymes that help break it down, but it's gonna release chemicals as we're trying to get rid of it. So this is where you get some of your die-off symptoms. Might feel like you have the flu, achy all over, fatigued, brain fog, reflux, and sugar cravings. Guys, yeast lives on sugar. That is how it lives. So when we're killing it off and not feeding it as much sugar, you are going to crave it. It doesn't want to die. It wants to find food and live and stay around just like any other organism. So expect that. That doesn't mean your plexus isn't working. That will go away. You can also have some sleep disruptions as we're getting everything balanced out. All these things are your body telling you, hey, we need help. Please get this stuff out of us. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So just a tangent here, inflammation. I don't want to go on a huge rabbit trail about that, but inflammation is playing a massive role in a lot of these things that you're experiencing. First of all, we carry chronic inflammation, some of us more severe than others. Inflammation is a normal thing that our body uses. It's a tool it uses in response to injuries and certain problems. The issues arise when chronic inflammation stays there for some reason. Many different things can cause this, but it's not good when it stays around, and it begins to damage our cells and interfere with our body's normal processes and just make you feel bad. So we have to address the inflammation, and our products also do that. However, how it relates to this detox and die-off process is as we're breaking this nasty stuff down and trying to get it out of the body, as those chemicals are being released, it can trigger further inflammatory responses. So all the things kind of associated with too much chronic inflammation can be made worse for a short period of time, but we're going to give suggestions on how to stop that, how to control it, and how to speed this process up. So I do want you to remember inflammation plays a role here. Everyone's magic question is, how long is this going to last? Some people usually experience this within the first 90 days of starting the products. Doesn't necessarily happen right at the beginning for everyone. As you slowly increase your dosing, which is what you should be doing, slowly going up to find the right level for your body and your system, you can kind of hit a tipping point where you'll begin to experience this. It could last 3 days. It could last a few months. It really has to do with how your health was prior to starting Plexus, how careful you were with your diet, what kind of things you were exposed to, and how many years or decades that were trying to undo harm. All right. So the person who introduced you to Plexus will hold your hand and walk you through this, because that's a big part of what makes us different. All right. So we kind of went over what it is and what to expect. So how do our products relate to this? What are you most likely taking that is kind of contributing to these feelings that you're having? Number one, so the main system that most people, not everybody, most people should be beginning with, so we can address the underlying causes of stuff to then figure out what else we need to address, is your triplex system. That's just 3 products that come together. So one of those is called Probio 5. It's our probiotics. So what probiotics do, they replace good bacteria that's been lost, and then they kill off excess yeast. So we've already hit on some of this. So this is kind of your seeding, and it's, we have to replace what's in essence been lost over the years. And we already hit on the fact that the yeast that's being broken down, when the shell is cracked, endotoxins are released and can cause an inflammatory response. But we want this stuff out of us. Slim is your pink drink, your microbiome pink drink. Just a small note about that, that has prebiotics in it. So that is feeding the good bacteria. So we're trying to do this thing of replacing and feeding good bacteria and killing off bad bacteria and bad fungus, because most of our ratios are out of whack. And a lot of the things that we come to Plexus complaining about that we want to fix are trickle down effects from these imbalances. So this is good that we're getting in there to get things back to how God intended them to be. And the third product is BioCleanse, or our magnesium cleanse. And it's not the whole cleanse like you might think. This does a few things. So if we're killing off these toxins, we have to get them out of us, or we're going to feel worse and worse and worse. So of course we know our liver detoxes our blood, but we have to get this stuff out of our bodies. And that's really where BioCleanse comes in. You can think of it as like little scrubbing brushes for your whole body to scrub our vessels and scrub our intestinal tract clean, and then help excrete that out of our bodies. It also has antioxidant effects. It will decrease bloating, constipation, gas, and it will help to buffer your pH in your body as we're moving all these chemicals around and trying to detox things. So hopefully all that makes sense. And then last, the most important, how do I help my body deal with this and manage this? So we have a few suggestions, but you should know your body gets rid of toxins in several ways, but 3 main ones that are relevant to us: your urine, your bowel movements, and your skin, like sweating. So a lot of the supportive things we suggest play into that and supporting those. So urine, drink more water. All right. Bare minimum should be 50% of your weight. So if you're a 200-pound person, minimum 100 ounces a day. That is not including if you're exercising. That is not including if you're having a bad detox. So you will have to go up from that. That means you're going to pee a lot. That's annoying for a little while. It will decrease. Just know you are getting rid of stuff that you don't want in there. You can also add some lemon to your water. That will help support your liver. We want our livers functioning as efficiently as possible to help us out here. Bowel movements, you need to take your products and take them consistently at the right dose. And that's going to take some customization. That isn't always just what's written on the bottle. Often it's not. So get with who introduced you to these products so we can figure that out. You have to take the BioCleanse. Sometimes if your symptoms are really bad, we'll slow down on some of the others, but you got to keep taking BioCleanse, taking it consistently. You should be having bowel movements 1 to 3 times a day. And we got to get all this stuff out of you that is causing these problems. Skin. So there's kind of 2 on this front. Sweat it out, guys. Get some exercise, go to a sauna. But again, don't get too dehydrated. If you're doing something like that, make sure you're replenishing all the water. And then Epsom salt baths can definitely help pull those toxins through the skin and speed this process up. Another one of our products that I really recommend adding in, and usually we can predict, not always, but if you're going to have a really bad detox, so if there's a chance of it, EASE is one of our products that's an all-natural anti-inflammatory product, but it has components that work on the cellular level. So it's not treating symptoms, it's going down to a cellular level to help prevent that massive inflammatory response that can cause a lot of these unpleasant things. So if you pair that with your triplex, it helps decrease the detox and die off and help speed up kind of your healing through that process. Starving the yeast. Do not drink a bunch of alcohol or eat a bunch of sugar. Okay, you're going to want it, but you just got to prep yourself for a few days of that being bad. If you feed the yeast, it's just going to take longer to get through this process and longer to get rid of these symptoms. And none of us want that. Supporting your liver. This can be done in a few ways. We have a 3-day nutritionally supported fast that's called Reset. Inside that Reset is a product called Restore. So it only comes inside the Reset, but Restore is made to specifically support your liver and detoxing your liver and helping your liver function right. A lot of other people will use over-the-counter milk thistle. So if you want to know about that, just check with your pharmacist and they can kind of guide you on how to help your liver work best if you feel like you're having trouble there. And then lastly is speed. This is really personal. Depending on when your detox and die-off symptoms arise, we have to decide how bad are they, how unpleasant are they interfering kind of with your regular life. My number one suggestion to people is just like, let's hold steady. Don't change anything. Let's do all the things we talked about. Stay consistent, drink lots of water, sweat it out, do some Epsom salt baths, start adding lemon to your water, and let's just hold for maybe a week and see how things go. If you're feeling terrible, you might back off your ProBio by 1, stay on your Bio Cleanse, stay on your Slim, and just don't increase, go back by 1, depending on what your level's at. Again, we'd have to chat to get specific for you, but that's some options. Or you can just like power through. And this is the best way to do it. It's uncomfortable, but if your life and your tolerance can accommodate it, just know the quicker we get this stuff out of you, the better. And by holding steady or backing off a little bit, it may decrease the days or weeks you experience this. And if you can, I'm a fan of just like, let's buckle down and power through and get this over with. But guys, the state your body's going to be in when we get through this on the other side, it's indescribable. You got to trust us and experience it for yourself. It is worth getting through this. And just remember, this is your body telling you that you have made the right decision, and that you're right. You're on the right track, and we're fixing the problems so your body can work as it was intended. So hopefully this offered some clarity and learning about what detox and die-off is, and you're going to do great. You're going to make it through it.